Benchwarmers Podcast. I am Casey Coggins. This is take 2. I am joined by Alvin Hebert.
What it is again?
And Andrew Lara.
Yeah. Zeke's worth the money, not that. 100% since we're back.
Continue.
The little technical difficulties, and then we are having a possible hijacking of this episode by Dak Prescott and his want for lots of money.
Scrub quarterbacks can be found anywhere.
You think
Yeah,
he's a
you have
scrub quarterback?
You have 2 of them in Denver right now with Joe Flacco and Drew Lock. I don't know about Drew Lock. I just wanted to make the joke.
I was like,
You have 2 of them in New York with Eli Manning and
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones.
But you got one that wants 40 mil in Dallas. Get the fuck out of here. That is ridiculous.
The hope of this podcast is to discuss UFC 241.
I want to see OJ make a video about that. Hello, Twitter world. What the fuck is up with Dak?
So UFC 241, Daniel Cormier and Stipe Miocic.
Fight like a Daniel.
Cry like a Daniel.
And then there's Anthony Pettis fighting Nate Diaz, who's returning from 3 years out of the octagon. His last fight was against Conor McGregor. And then we're going to discuss the Roc Nation taking over the NFL entertainment industry. And then getting on to the MLB and where we stand, where we will end up going forward come playoff time. Teams we see in, teams we see out, and things like that. But again, this is in hopes that the podcast episode is not hijacked by somebody looking for a $40 million ransom.
Fucking retarded.
So, as I said, we're going to start with UFC 241. I mean, it's another pretty damn good card. You know, the first match on the main card is Derek Brunson versus Ian Heinisch. Yeah, I think I said that right.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Some European.
The first fight on the main card.
Heinisch?
Yeah. Maybe Heinisch. Who cares? He's
It's
13-1, and then Derek Brunson, 19-7. He's been around the block.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the match after that is Gabriel Benitez against Sodiq Yusuff. Kind of a similar thing to the previous match. You have a UFC veteran who has a 21-7 record against a relatively newcomer who's 9-1. And then I think you get into, the top 3.
Fucking Yoel Romero.
Yeah, Romero versus Costa, who's Costa's 12-0, Romero's 13-3. Both look to be, you know, middleweight contenders. And we'll see like where they end up going after this. This is the kind of fight that, you know, you either see them, the winner of this, going on and fighting for a title, or is one match away from the title, and then the loser ends up having to fight 3 or 4 times again before he gets that title shot. But the 2 main bouts, Anthony Pettis against Stonejaw himself, Nate Diaz, which is just going to be a brutal match.
It's gonna be a bloodbath.
That's a street
it's
fight
going to
right
be.
there.
What was the boxing match?
Which one?
Oh, fuck! Why can't I think of the names?
You thinking Mickey Ward and Arturo Gatti?
Yeah, Ward and Gotti. That's the one. It's gonna be like that. I knew. I was like, I think it was Gotti, but
yeah, man, where he fucking broke his hand mid fight and still boxing on it. Fuck, it still won too. That's one of those that he won.
Yeah, and then
was that one in the movie that they did?
What?
Was that in the movie also?
What movie?
The one that they did about Mickey Ward.
What movie?
Was that the one that Mark Wahlberg was?
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg was in it.
Oh, that was Christian Bale was in that movie too, right?
Yeah, he was the brother.
The fighter.
Yeah. Was that Mickey Ward? I don't think I ever saw that one.
Yeah.
that's
The
Mickey
film
Ward's story.
centers on the lives of professional boxer Mickey Ward, Mark Wahlberg, and his older half brother Dickie Eklund, Christian Bale.
You should check it out. That was pretty good. Mm-hmm.
So, I did want to discuss Nate Diaz. We saw how McGregor fared in his comeback to the octagon after 2 years out against Khabib.
Was not this? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Because
A year and a half or two?
Yeah, he did a full year training to fight Mayweather.
Yeah, that's true.
So he was out for a while, and I mean, you could see like the first round he could hold his own, and then just winded. He couldn't do anything.
You talking about against Mayweather?
No. I mean Mayweather too, but like
I think in general,
McGregor
like his stamina is
against
always.
Khabib. Like,
Oh fuck, man! After he took that fucking right in the second round, it was game over.
yeah, it was. He
took
just
all his life out.
Khabib was about to rip his fucking head off.
so. But I mean, we also don't see many fighters like Nate Diaz.
True. Either the Diaz brothers.
Yeah, that's true. They both just kind of walk into an octagon ready to fight. I mean, they really walk in anywhere ready to fight.
They stay, yeah.
They stay
ready.
Yeah, they got them hands
Always strapped.
Lance Stevenson needs to change the nickname and like give
Born
the
ready.
nickname over to Nate Diaz. Born ready as Nate Diaz. So I'm really curious to see how he fares because Pettis does have a great pedigree in the UFC. I believe he was a champion in the welterweight division not too long ago. And I mean, both of these guys, again, it's one of those where if you see a dominant performance from one, like they're probably going to be right around the corner of fighting for the belt again. How do you see? I mean, we all said it's going to be a bloodbath. We think it could be a fight that goes it will be all 5 rounds. They don't just do 3 in this one. I never know when they switch from 3 to 5.
No, it should be a 3.
3 because it's a non-championship
or a main event.
Okay, so I mean it could be all 3 rounds where both guys can't see at the end. Do you think that Nate Diaz still comes out on top in his comeback, or do you think that the 3-year layoff and then fighting a guy of the caliber of Anthony Pettis, it just becomes too much because Pettis is coming off a TKO victory in March. He lost to Tony Ferguson, which I believe was losing the belt on the Khabib card. And so he's 3-2 in his last 5.
I think he could take it. I'd put my money on him.
On Pettis or Diaz?
On Pettis.
Yeah, see, I mean that's I think
know.
smart money lays on Pettis because Pettis it just came off of a fight. He's fought. I mean, I wanted to look at the
only
again.
fighter that hasn't really had ring rust after taking extended leave is one of the greatest in fucking GSP.
Yeah, who's a fucking machine. So
ring rust is a real thing.
since the last time,
ask Connor.
Shit.
Since the last time Nate Diaz has fought in the UFC, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fights for Anthony Pettis.
Yeah, man.
He fought twice in 4 days in 2016. I think Pettis will have the stamina, won't have to try to knock off the rust. But you don't finish Nate Diaz. Like, I don't know how many the last time he got submitted by Conor, and then he got KO'd in 2013. You don't see really him getting TKO'd, I think. He has 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's not even 1. He has 1 TKO loss in his career. The other losses have been either by submission or decision. So, you don't knock him out. Pettis is just going to have to wear him down, maybe get a submission, or just win by decision. Do you see a submission happening in this fight?
No way.
No.
Do you see much ground game in this fight?
No way.
Nah.
So, I think Pettis wins in a decision, and my bet's on a unanimous decision. But I don't think that really gives Diaz the amount of credit that I want to give him because of what I've seen out of him over the years. He's like the ultimate fighting spirit. So I think that'll be a nice little warm up to this weird little title fight with Cormier and Miocic. And I know it's the second time they fought, but you have a guy who is literally my size. Like, he's an inch taller than me. I actually weigh like 3 pounds less than him right now. Against a guy who's 6'4", 242. You have a wrestler versus a more knockout prone fighter. This is like the perfect kind of heavyweight fight, because that's kind of the thing with boxing is you can have this George Foreman looking motherfucker, and then you have Joe Frazier, who's much smaller, but still packs the amount of punch that he does. Or look at Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's like 5'10", 5'11", and he just walked up and he like jumped into guys and knocked them out in 4 seconds.
I mean, there's a lot of power behind it though.
So
he was also hypnotized into it.
I was just listening to the Bill Simmons podcast with Sarah Silverman when they were talking about when Mike Tyson was the co-host on the first season of Jimmy Kimmel Live, and he brought his medicinal marijuana with him. And his manager said, if he offers you some of his weed, you have to smoke it with him. Like, don't say no, because he will get offended. And so, like, Bill Simmons was just like, yeah, we're like all comatose when we were trying to write a show. So Mike Tyson is one of a kind. Never liked him before, never liked him since.
Shit, even still, that ranch, the Tyson Ranch,
yeah,
dog.
So, I mean, his singing chops on The Hangover 2.
His podcasting.
His tiger.
His tiger. Fuck out of here.
His tiger. But the Cormier Miocic fight. What do you see it just being Cormier again?
No, I like Cormier.
I hate Cormier, man.
He's grown on me. I started out not liking him, but the more I've listened to him and like watched him fight, the more like I appreciate the skill that he has, and I also appreciate that, like, I mean, he's not like Chael Sonnen, who's just a loudmouth who can talk a lot. Like, Cormier is actually like a thoughtful person when he breaks down fights. That I love, like, seeing him being kind of a ringside guy, or like,
I like his commentating. I don't like his fighting.
I think he'll make a good coach, like, for sure. His IQ is pretty high.
But I mean, I like his fighting because I mean, he's probably the best heavyweight in MMA on the ground. Like he's the best wrestler out of all heavyweights.
Well, I mean, it's not hard.
It's pretty hard.
It's not hard.
Imagine being
heavyweight to just fucking swing for the fences and it's over and around.
Possibly, but I think there's still, you have to make sure you don't get caught. We saw what happened when somebody gets caught with a flying knee. So I mean, it does require timing, skill, footwork, not getting busted in the head. That I think Cormier. I mean, there's a reason why he's 22-1 in his career, and has been a belt holder in 2 different weight classes.
He'll always be a paper champion to me, man. Always.
In the heavyweight?
No, not in heavyweight. The
light heavyweight.
Yeah.
I mean, that pretty much, because he only got that because of cocaine.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Tainted cocaine.
If
it wasn't for that, he'd still be crying.
Danielle. He has snot and everything coming out his fucking nose.
Man, I'm okay with the crying.
He was crying like Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder.
No, he was
even making the face.
He was crying
drool
like
coming out and everything.
Joel Embiid when they lost to the Raptors.
He has that face. Just like he looked like somebody shot his dog in front of him.
He was thinking about retiring then.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I mean he's.
I love the back and forth between John and DC.
Yeah.
It's the
greatest.
greatest.
Man, I brought it up. I don't know how long ago, but probably the last time we talked John Jones and Daniel Cormier, that I was watching ESPN, and John Jones did an interview with like Scott Van Pelt, and he was like, "Man, I respect the shit out of Daniel Cormier. Like that dude is a great fighter." And I was like, "Bring me back cocained up John Jones talking a bunch of shit." Like that's the John Jones I want to see with Cormier. Like
this whole humble bullshit.
Like, like they're both like, yeah, he's a great fighter. I respect him. I like Cormier is like, I lost to him like fair and square. Like they were like buddies all of a sudden, and now it's back on because that's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to discuss 241 was one, the Nate Diaz thing, but two, we've discussed after the last John Jones fight, where the fuck do they go with that division? Because John Jones is torn through everybody. I don't see a contender in sight. So somebody has to change weight classes. Cormier's come down. John Jones has never gone up.
He doesn't want to.
I know he doesn't want to, but like where do you see Cormier after this?
He's either retiring or he's dropping weight.
I think he retires after this.
I don't think he wants that smoke.
No, he doesn't.
He don't want to catch another fucking leg.
I'm tired of these motherfucking shoulders and my chin.
Right. He's like, man, I don't want to be crying on TV again.
Have you?
People paying $65 to watch me cry. What's wrong with that?
Have you seen those elbows on that guy?
Fucking shoulders and elbows and knees. Everything.
I think everything in the arsenal, man.
I think I got hit by his ankle.
He hit him with that fucking Zohan kick.
I never knew a palm would hurt so much in the pec.
That Buddha palm. Pow.
The front kick.
So we all kind of had Pettis going, winning against Diaz. In this fight, what do y'all see? I know that y'all just don't like Cormier. I don't know if that'll change.
I see Cormier taking a knockout.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that would change your like opinion on the fight, like whether, because I can dislike a person, but I can still pick that person to win. Like I'm not going to pick against the Patriots, even though I hate Tom Brady.
That's the GOAT, man.
He curved that. He said,
"That's like hating on fucking John Jones betting against him. It's the GOAT."
Tom Brady's the GOAT, like Daniel Cormier's the GOAT.
Nah, you're talking about Peyton.
That comparison, bro. That comparison.
So, knockout from Miocic. You have a round.
Nah, like 3.
Alvin, what do you see?
I don't know, man. Like Miocic got fucking exposed that last fight. That's what like DC does. But I think Miocic is going to cover. But I think it's going to go to decision.
Don't see a decision at all. This is a heavyweight fight.
Yeah.
There aren't any wrong answers except that one.
There aren't any wrong ones, but
you said Miocic.
The wrong one.
You said Miocic's decision. It's like, oh, that's the wrong answer.
Let me see the last time a Cormier fight went to a decision.
Look up the odds of that going fight to decision.
So he's been in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
He went a handful of times.
8 of his 30 or 23 fights. So
I think that's a good amount.
About a third of his fights go to decision. The last one was 3 years ago. And I don't know.
He's also a little bit older.
Yeah, I don't know what weight classes he was in. I don't want to go through all of that shit to try to figure out where he was in weight, but I also don't see it going to a decision. But I do see
he sees DC winning by submission.
Let me think.
He's like, well, God damn it.
I mean, that's kind of
the words out of my mouth.
That's where my like gut instinct goes. But the issue is that I've watched Miocic fight, and I know that all it takes is one. He's also coming off of the loss to Cormier. Cormier, it seems to be like we talked about Cormier in retirement. Like the UFC and boxing isn't one of those sports where you can do if you're not fully committed. Like if you have any thoughts on retirement, that tends to not play well. So I see a second round knockout for Miocic.
Also, you got Miocic also.
I think that like it's kind of one of those things where I think Cormier is ready to retire. Or
he's gonna retire a fight too late.
Yeah, he's
gonna get retired.
Yeah,
he's gonna get suicided, as some would say.
On that Bones fight, part 3,
about to get Epsteined.
But I think Cormier has had his incredible run, and Miocic is, I think, too good of a fighter to lose 2 in a row to the same person. That again, all it takes is one solid contact to rock Cormier, and I think Miocic is going to be able to do that. So now that leads us on to The Roc. They signed a deal with NFL to lead their entertainment endeavors, as the headline of this article reads. So, before really having gone into any depth on it, when you saw that Roc Nation was hired to lead the entertainment endeavors, what was your first thought, Andrew?
Why?
Explanation on why? Like,
it seemed out of nowhere. It seemed kind of against who the NFL seems to be.
Yeah.
They seem to be like anti-pop, anti-celebrity type of deal.
Especially with that whole Kaepernick stuff.
That's probably the wrong way to put it, because they are pro-pop and pro-celebrity.
I guess just the wrong kind of pop.
They are.
That's the hip in the front of it.
Yeah, they're not down with the cause. They're not woke, as some would say.
Right, definitely. But they do know where their bread is buttered. And when they can have a celebrity front run something on them, something for them, like they know how big the Super Bowl halftime show is. They know how big the Super Bowl is. They know how big their sport is in the country, that if they can.
And also, I don't know why Jay-Z, not so much why he wanted to, it's just, hasn't Jay-Z been very outspoken also about the whole cap thing?
So that is what the first sentence of, the first paragraph of this article from Jason Reed from The Undefeated on ESPN writes. And a boost to the NFL's efforts around social justice, Roc Nation, the entertainment company founded by iconic rapper, businessman, and activist Sean Jay-Z Carter, has agreed to lead the league's endeavors in music and entertainment. So the NFL, I think, has realized how much they have fallen out of the graces of...
They're behind the 8 ball on that.
Of like progressiveness. And if it wasn't if it wasn't the NFL, if it wasn't the sport of football, they would have fallen down the MLB rabbit hole. If people found football as boring as they did baseball, football would be less popular than baseball.
I 100% disagree with that. Just because of the actual sport.
Well, that's what
people love, the action, and that's what people say isn't going on in baseball.
You saying you disagree just agreed with in saying that as your disagreement, agreed with my point. Was if football if football was as boring as baseball, it would be less popular than baseball.
100%.
Okay.
So yeah, I understood. Right, I understood. Right. If they didn't do this, they would fall down that hole. I was like, 100% no.
Not at all. No, not at all. But that's the thing, is they are still where they are because we love the sport.
We love the hits.
It's the gladiator aspect of everything.
And I mean, that's kind of the reason why, like, I'm super, like, upset with all the rule changes in the NFL. I'm like, if you didn't know what you were getting into when you signed up to play football, that is on you. They should have done a lot. NFL should have done a lot better in the past about protecting their players after their careers, focusing on, like, giving them the medical treatment. But if you think for a second that some of these guys who, like, I don't know if I'll use Junior Seau because he's kind of the most recent prominent example of this. If you think Junior Seau would change a thing about his life playing football and being able to provide for his family that way and do the things that he was able to do for his culture playing football, like, you're out of your mind if you think he's changing that just because you're like, hey, you might get brain damage from this sport. Like,
isn't Junior Seau dead?
Yeah, that's what I'm.
I think I'd choose life.
but it's you. Football has given so much to so many people that you kind of understand you should understand the risks that come with it. Like the people who work out in the oil fields, they understand that there is a risk that comes with it. Firefighters, police officers, they sign on
politicians
knowing that there's a risk. They sign on knowing that there is a risk that they could be hurt. They could end up dying because of their job. But it allows them to provide for their family in a way that, no other job in their eyes does. Like, people sign on to in the military for the same reasons. It provides them a lifestyle that otherwise they couldn't get, while there are inherent dangers in that. And I think football and people who follow football and the leaders of football, they've done a poor job over the years addressing that when you start playing football, there is going to be some sort of risk doing it. And if you are good enough, if you end up doing this, if you are a professional football player, you're going to live a life that you might never have even dreamed of.
That's why Dak wants fucking
40 million. So back to the Roc Nation thing and the wokeness that is becoming the NFL. I mean, 10 years too late, I guess. I mean, I guess not too late, but
better late than never.
Right.
I mean, at least they let us celebrate our touchdowns again.
Yes.
Yes.
That was big.
I love the group ones.
Yes.
Did y'all see the ping pong one?
Yes.
Preseason?
I don't think I saw that one.
A receiver scored a touchdown and he runs over to a teammate and they start acting like they're playing ping pong. So it looks like Jay-Z is quoted in this. With its global reach, the National Football League has the platform and opportunity to inspire change across the country. Roc Nation has shown that entertainment and enacting change are not mutually exclusive ideas. Instead, we unify them. This partnership is an opportunity to strengthen the fabric of communities across America.
You missed the last line. It's The Rock.
When was the last time he's actually even said that?
I don't
know. So this definitely is in the wake of Kaepernick. Kaepernick is listed in this. Like, it's Carter, who has been public in his support for Kaepernick, is among the most revered figures in the Black community. Carter is also a vocal activist. So they are pretty. I think this is the NFL finding a way to
bury the hatchet.
I was going to say hedge their bets, because with the protests that they tried to shut down, I personally believe Kaepernick was kind of blackballed out of the league.
Kind of.
I say kind of because the backlash that was coming with Kaepernick, I don't think was a smart business decision to sign him. But football sense, it would have probably been a smart decision to sign him.
I feel like the cons outweighed the pros.
Exactly. That's kind of what I was saying.
At that price range that he was looking for. So it's like you got to do your pros and cons, and it's just the cons outweighed them.
So this, as I say, it hedged their bets. Is it seems like the NFL is like, okay, well, Kaepernick can still be out of the league. We can still be anti the kneeling for the national anthem. We can still, promote the we love white people aspect of the league, because they're the ones that pay our bills.
I love that. First t-shirt, we heart white people.
We love you, white America.
Because, I mean, the Deep South is like half of the
half of the owners and stuff too.
Like,
they're all from.
That's the bread and butter right there, dog.
I don't think there is an African American NFL owner.
No, I was saying like them owners. They're rooted from the Deep South.
Yeah, it's. Jerry Jones is from Arkansas.
Well, yeah.
I don't know about rooted in the Deep South. They come from money. The fans.
There's the owner of the Jags, like Amir Khan or something like that, Shao Khan, whatever. I
was like, Amir Khan owns a fucking football team.
What the hell is his name? But again, it goes to the hedging their bets, where they can say, we still believe this, but we also know that we need to do better for these people as well. And so it kind of, as that as Jay-Z said in that article, it kind of helps unify things. It helps build bridges across communities.
Yeah, bridge the gap.
Shahid Khan, that's his name. I love his mustache.
Bro, Big Sean is signed with Roc Nation. He's not with Good Music no more?
No more.
I love that mustache.
That's the owner of the Jags. He's hilarious.
Straight porn style looking motherfucker.
I believe his nickname
have all the money.
Where is he from?
Suck my dick.
Come right on my boat.
He's the Pakistani Ron Jeremy.
Terrible.
That was terrible.
Alvin, you're the one who tweeted about the Roc Nation thing today.
Yeah.
About Super Bowl halftime
show's gonna be lit now.
How much do you think that it's actually going to change?
I think it's gonna change drastically, like who they have as a headliner.
I think all the people are gonna say it's gonna be a lot more urban.
I mean, like now it just sets up like he could get like the J. Cole, he could get the Kendrick Lamar's, and like if they have that song that's like, you know, social activist or whatever, it's just like boom, front stage
coming
stage
to you,
right here.
Super Bowl 2020, Khaled.
DJ Khaled?
Nope.
Or Khalid. I was like, DJ Khaled?
I hope not DJ Khaled.
Oh, it'd be fucking tight.
Oh, yeah. He'd have like 500 people on the stage.
Dude, it'd be so fucking tight. His son will be on stage just, Assad!
He's gonna have like Nicki Minaj and Meg Thee Stallion just twerking.
You know how
it up
many,
on there.
you know the prop bet for that would be how many, the over under, he says another one, and it's going to be at like 45.
Either that or we the best. Shit.
Another one. Why did that become a thing? Like,
because he had hit after hit.
That was his ad lib.
It was just another one.
And then it became like we the best.
No, it started off as
We the Best. Yeah,
We the Best music.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
I mean, I think this partnership of the NFL and Roc Nation is only going to lead to good things, because Roger Goodell has made very, very good decisions as far as like the popularity of the league since he took over for Tagliabue.
You think so?
I think he's been absolutely atrocious in his decision making, in the way that he's handled a lot of stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
So, he has been the worst commissioner across the four major sports since. I mean, I don't even know if C League was as bad as Goodell towards the end of his run. But as far as like Manfred and Silver and God, I can't think of the NHL commissioner who's actually doing
Silver's starting to teeter.
You think so?
I'm about done with
Gary Bettman.
He's
Adam Silver is very player.
He seems very pushover.
Like the players will push him over, like
100%.
Yeah.
He definitely doesn't have the sternness of David Stern.
Pun intended.
Yes, definitely.
But yeah, 100%. He's not.
But he has also.
He seems one of those like, guys, don't do that. I was like, okay, we're gonna go do it again.
Yeah,
guys, don't do that.
He's a great commissioner for pushing the sport in a positive direction. Like, I don't think that there's really been anything that Adam Silver has done. I think he might have signed off on the new basketball that came out like 7 or 8 years ago that lasted a month and a half, I think, and then got replaced by the old one.
And then that whole Clippers ownership, did that happen under his watch?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the way he handled that, like I was like, yeah, that was the way to do it.
Okay, it was 2006 that a new ball was released for David
What was
Stern.
his part in that? The Sterling. What did he do?
Silver?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
Donald Sterling?
No, what did Silver do?
He made him sell the team.
Yeah,
How do you make someone sell the team? I don't understand. I get he sold the team because it was just a bad look, and everybody's talking about we're gonna stop going to Clippers games. But what?
he suspended him from like all basketball related activities.
Yeah.
Okay. He couldn't like force.
You can't force someone to sell. Yeah.
A team.
But I mean, the shareholders too, that on the board and all that stuff, I'm pretty sure they forced Sterling's hand to sell also.
I don't think so. I mean, he was the majority owner.
Yeah.
He could have said we're fucking moving, and
because if they had a board meeting, they could have outvoted him and like, all right, you don't own that shit now.
no, that's the part of having the majority.
So,
he has final say on those things.
So Adam Silver announced that Sterling had been banned from the league for life, fined $2.5 million, the maximum fine. He also stripped Sterling of virtually all of his authority over the Clippers and banned him from entering any Clippers facility. He was also banned from attending any NBA games. The punishment was one of the most severe ever imposed on a professional sports.
So he stripped him down to just having the ownership title and collecting the checks.
Pretty much. But you can't show up to none of this.
Yeah. But I don't know.
You and your
shit. I think all that's just show, just to show you're doing it, because these guys didn't make their money from that.
So, and then it looks like his wife announced that he had authorized her to negotiate the sale of the team, which he ended up backing away from, or disavowing, as this says. And then he then sued the NBA.
I think the wife like pushed him to sell it too after all that stuff happened.
Yeah, she could push him. That shit's hers.
Yeah. So
especially in California.
Yeah.
Half that shit's hers.
So it was, I mean, that's just one of the high points of Adam Silver.
It was a good way to start your tenure as a fucking commissioner.
Yeah.
So to end on the point about him being a pushover, yes, I agree. He is somewhat of a pushover, but he also knows he's a pushover because he knows to get out of the way of the people who make the money for the league. Like David Stern's problem was he had that Joey Crawford streak in him, where when things happen, it became about David Stern instead of about the NBA, about the players, about the league. You never see Adam Silver get in the way of the NBA and the players and the coaches and the owners. He's so good at. He's what we need in a politician, because he's good at negotiating with compromise. He's like, okay, we can do this, but we can't do this.
What does he negotiated and compromised on?
Well, when rules come to the forefront of the NBA, he can say, look, we can change this rule, but we're not going to go and change this rule. Like, we want to speed up the game, so we're going to have a shot clock reset of 14 seconds, but we're not going to be able to hack Shaq anymore. Like, those are kind of compromising things where he's like,
yeah, I wasn't arguing, I was just asking.
Right. I know that. I was just trying to like pull the examples because I know like that's what he's great at, is managing relationships, which is what the commissioner of the sports league is, like, his vital role is.
But it just feels like he's doing too much of it to where it could seem as he's babying a bit.
Yeah, I do.
Especially
think that,
now when they're talking about like, oh yeah, we've been talking about shortening the season, and it's just like, let's not do that.
Yeah,
I mean,
no need.
That has been a discussion for a long time.
But what I get, what they're doing now, what I like what they're doing now, as much as people, it is somewhat, it's a topic, is how players are backing out of like extracurriculars, say Team USA and stuff like that, to prepare for the upcoming season. I'm totally cool with that. I mean, you still gonna have your fucking pickup games,
right? But, so that's one of the main things I think to me is it. I mean, it goes across all sports. You have seen professional athletes complain that they're practicing too much, but you're also I feel seeing a lot of the star athletes get hurt more because of that. Like it's like say you work out the same way for 10 years. Then all of a sudden you stop doing, 5 days a week and you start doing 1 day a week, eventually your body's going to say, what the fuck happened? And like, you're going to hurt something.
That's what happened in the NFL. That's why they got so many injuries too.
And I mean, there's
that, and I was like the head contact.
Yeah.
Look at how many injuries you see in the NBA of star players. Like,
and not just minor ones. These are like severe injuries.
And it's like in the early 2000s, like Tim Duncan had this issue with his knee. Shaq, when was he hurt in his prime?
Shit.
Kobe, Kevin Garnett.
They just had, like,
they played the
issues.
same. They played the same.
Yeah, and they played.
It was more physical at that too.
They played more physical. It wasn't quite as fast, and it wasn't quite as athletic. And so, I mean, there might be different muscles being worked out, but they were still playing the same game. But they also had more practices.
These guys also weren't spending millions of dollars on their own diet as well.
Right.
Larry Bird was fucking smoking in the locker room.
Yeah, but that's why his career only lasted like 12 years.
Michael Jordan with the cigars at the fucking craps table.
Yeah.
And then Charles Oakley and Charles Barkley and that whole crew.
Like, look at these guys now. It's just...
Yeah, they cryogenic
millions of dollars on just diet alone.
Yeah, so
and chefs, like,
yeah, like
personal chefs, like traveling with you.
It is the fact that they aren't, I think, having that same sort of rigorous exercise. Like in me saying it's one thing to like work out 5 times a week and then going down to 1 time a week. Like, that is essentially what NBA players did. They went from playing 4 games a week to playing 2 games a week. They went from like, in playing an NBA game can't be no joke. Like, it's not like your average YMCA pickup game. It's not like these guys are just like lollygagging up and down. I mean, the Phoenix Suns might, but James Harden might. But I mean, even when James Harden's on offense, like, the guys who have to guard him, himself, like the rest of, like, everybody on the court is moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And now you're saying you're doing that 1 night, and then you're going to have 3 nights off, and then you're going to do it again. Like, yeah, your body might be able to recover, but eventually it's just going to break. Like, you're not doing the same. You're not working it out the same way you are.
What is it about the players today that can't last, that aren't as durable as players in the past?
I think they're even just like fragile. Like,
even with the players playing now, is like with Vince Carter.
I think they're just like
aside from Vince Carter not having those deep fucking playoff runs, he's been playing for how many? What's this 20th season?
It'll be his 22nd, I believe.
22nd.
He was class in 98.
And many like major injuries?
None.
I think he had
or one, maybe
1.
Yeah,
but that's fucking durability, dog. That's American made shit right there.
It's the same with Michael Jordan. He only had that one major knee injury, and that he was playing USA basketball when he was in college. Like, come on.
Like, well, didn't he? They were still amateurs playing then.
Yeah, but there was playing against the actual like national teams of the other countries.
Yeah, but yeah. So what is it with the players now? They're not as durable. They break easier.
I just think they're not all about like actual like keeping your body like fit. They're just all about like the diet and all that stuff and the nutrition. But I don't see them like actually.
Could it be the constant muscle repetition? How they're not fucking playing multiple sports throughout childhood? You're working out different muscles playing football and basketball.
I don't think that's nearly the case. I mean,
like with kids playing baseball.
I guess I mean you could use that because LeBron was an all-state
football player,
receiver, and this was the first year that he's had a major injury.
Nate Robinson, he was a cornerback for Washington.
University of Washington. I mean, you do see some of the guys, but I mean, like, look at like some of the rookies, like, or second, third year players. Like, we just, as Spurs fans, we just saw Lonnie Walker, his rookie season, have a knee injury. DeJounte have a torn ACL. Derek White had an ankle issue or knee issue, whatever that was.
And those were all early in the season to where it shouldn't be called because of fatigue.
Right. And
I think it's repetition because it's like you're going half-ass like during like the week or whatever, and then you try to like kick it into high gear, go like full like 1,000%.
You have to have like, I mean, it's difficult because you do have your situations of freak injuries like the Gordon Hayward and the Paul George kind of stuff where, like, I mean, Paul George is probably the better example to use in this case because that was a
Team USA
scrimmage. That was a full speed scrimmage. But you're not doing those nearly enough. Like, look at the pickup games you see on like Instagram of just like J. Cole and Melo and whoever else was part
Lonnie
of that
Walker
thing.
and Gucci Mane.
They're just jacking up jump shots.
It's like you don't see the same sort of full speed scrimmaging. You don't see the
full speed from Melo.
I need to give me a spot.
Dog.
And
I don't know how he doesn't have a spot though.
And so I do believe that's really the case. And it's funny because there are it's a study that can go both ways. Because you can find guys who, when they are given a certain amount of rest, and they have no injuries and they play, so much better. But when you could also find guys who, when they are given a certain amount of rest, they play worse and they get hurt. So there really is no.
There's no balance
on it.
Yeah, because
I think confirmed.
I think like a perfect example is like Lonzo Ball. Like when he first came to the league, he was just like real lanky and just like whatever. And then second year, because he was getting injured often, whatever, they like decided like, all right, we need to add more muscle to you so you can handle the bang and all that stuff and the wear and tear.
Still got hurt. Some guys are just injury prone. That's also
I feel like there's more and more of that then.
I feel so too.
But it's for all I know, it could just go back to when they're like 10 years old and they start playing AAU. Like they're just not.
It's year-round basketball. That's what I'm saying. Man. Could it be that where they're just working the same?
They have so many minutes already on their body by the time they get to the NBA miles. That by the time like when we like grew up, if we played 4 years of basketball in high school and the 2 years in middle school and like the little bit of basketball growing up to like practice at the YMCA or something, like that's not nearly the same amount of time on the court that high school AAU, like all of these guys are doing now. That when we would have made it to college and then to the NBA, like we're like 4 complete seasons behind these guys. So they're not entering as rookies with like rookie amount of minutes on their body. They're entering as rookies with like 5-6 year veteran minutes on their body. And I mean, it could be as simple as something like that. And they're just playing more growing up so that there's already more wear and tear like a car.
To me, I think it's just because they take it too easy, like during practice and during some games. And I feel like
this is basketball, dog. It's not football.
I just feel like it's just like there's not enough aggression in basketball anymore. So like when they do try to kick it in high gears, like their body's gonna be like, wait, hold up.
They get called bad guys.
Rear
Kobe's
back.
being mean to me, calling me soft.
That Patrick Beverly on the Russell Westbrook,
Jimmy Butler.
Yeah,
like they made that way worse than what it was. But
right.
Because he was going full 100 and Russell Westbrook is going like at 50.
Yeah, I mean, that's like trying to use that as the example. It's like saying, well, the center should have snapped the ball quicker on a victory formation. The defensive tackle ran him over. Like, no, it's a victory formation. You just kind of like let the guy call a timeout. He's going to call a timeout. You just kind of go up there, give him a little pat on the ass, and then we'll go to your bench. Like, there's no reason to try to steal the ball. Like, he's going to get the timeout call. you're not going to prevent this timeout from being called. All you're going to do is put yourself and him in jeopardy of getting hurt. And at that point, he did get somebody hurt. So that one, I was more vindictive of Pat Beverly than I am like with 95% of his stuff, because I love that guy and I love the passion he plays with. But in that instance, that was the wrong sportsman thing to do. Like I said, it's like diving at a center's legs on a victory formation. So that's enough on Roc Nation.
Damn, how do we get on this?
You start talking about wokeness and it ends up being in the NBA, the wokest of the sports.
The wokest of all.
100%, dog.
So wrapping up with the MLB. So I'm just going to go kind of division by division. So and we can talk winners of the division, and then after we get to the winners, we can do the wild card, and then wrap up this episode. So I'm just going to start in order of the standings I have on my computer. The American League East, which has the Yankees at 79-41. Excuse me. They are 9 games up of second place Tampa Bay. They are 17.5 games up on your defending champion Boston Red Sox. They are 30 games up on the Blue Jays and 39.5 games up on the Orioles. So fair to say that the Orioles are winning this division.
Indeed. Most definitely.
Do we see the Yankees getting caught?
When?
Do you see them getting caught at all the rest of this season by anybody in the division?
No, 100% no.
Yeah. So Yankees, we can pretty much pencil in, I think, right now, even though it is only a 9-game lead, and there still is. Let's see, they're at 140 games, 120 games. I'm an idiot and looked at the wrong number. They're at 120 games, so they have 42 games left. So plenty of time for even the Red Sox to catch up to them. But it doesn't seem likely with how well they're playing. So we'll pencil the Yankees in. American League Central, we have the Cleveland Indians at 72-47, a half game up on the Twins, who are 71-47. And both of them are, I'm going to just consider the Twins tied. Both of them are 19 games up on the White Sox, 29 games up on the Royals, and 35 games up on the Tigers. So, who do you see coming out on top of this division? Alvin, you can lead off.
I think the Indians. I think their starting pitching is a little bit
even
better
after
than the
they
Twins.
traded Bauer.
Yeah, that was just like inevitable on what happened that game and all that stuff. Like he just marked himself to be like traded after that.
So,
Andrew, are you with the Indians too, or are you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Indians. I mean, they're on a little roll going on. They won 8 out of their last 10. It's close, but seems like Minnesota's just treading water for now.
Yeah, I saw a stat about Minnesota's offense and how they have so many home runs in like the month of August or something like that, where their offense is on a complete tear. They have a run differential of 127 in the plus, which is 4th best in all of baseball. But I do think the Indians are the more talented team overall, and see the Indians winning the division in the end. So we all have the Indians there. We all have the Yankees.
Yep.
Now the AL West is the Houston Astros, 78-41, 10.5 games up of second place Oakland, 18.5 up on the Rangers, 20.5 up on the Angels, and 30 up on the Mariners. Remember when the Mariners were like 11-1?
Alvin does.
They are
Don't at me,
30.
bro.
They are 30.
Don't at me, bro.
They are 37.70.
Shit.
I'm
So,
perfectly aware.
I assume we all have the Astros here,
Yeah,
especially
100%.
after the trade for Greinke.
Best rotation in the league now.
So that leads us to the wild card. So with the wild card, you're looking at Minnesota has the first spot. Tampa Bay has the second spot. Tampa Bay is up 2 games on Oakland, 8.5 on the Red Sox, 10 on the Rangers, 12 on the Angels, and then 16.5 on the White Sox. I think it's fair to write off anybody below the Angels. I don't know if anybody's coming back from more than 12 games back right now. Even though, again, there's 40 to 45 games left in the season, or 40 to 50. Like the Tigers, they have 47 left. I just don't know if I don't think any of those teams down there are talented enough to catch the top teams. So going Twins, Rays, A's, Red Sox, Rangers, Angels. Who are the 2 y'all are going with? Andrew?
I'd say Oakland, and I'm gonna hold up for my Rangers.
So you're gonna have 3 AL West.
No, I'm just playing. I'm gonna go with the Twins.
Twins and A's?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. 1-2 like that. Twins, A's. 1-2 wild card.
Twins, A's, yes.
Alvin?
I'm gonna say Twins for sure. Fuck it. I'll say the Rays. I'll say the Rays get in.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. I want to believe the Red Sox talent is going to get them there, and it very well could. Like
The Rays just play so good on the road. 39-22.
Yeah, they have a much better away record than a home record. And I do think that that's the thing about baseball. Like 1 week, you can play 6 games, and the Rangers could go 6-0, and the Rays could go 0-6, and now they're only 4 behind.
Yeah.
So it can change super quick, and that's why I think the Angels are really the cusp of who can make a run at the wild card. And I personally want to see the Angels in there. Because
How many years is that you try to fight for the Angels to get in there?
I'll fight for them every year.
Yeah,
Like
right.
Fuck the Angels.
That's what I say.
it's like saying it's like having the NBA playoffs without LeBron.
What?
Like imagine 2011 LeBron missing the
Playoffs are really good.
The
The playoffs are good this year.
But it's it's the biggest stage, and you want your best players, especially with the MLB. Like you want some sort of star to kind of like star power.
I don't think the
You want-
MLB works
there
that
needs-
way.
There-
I mean,
there
you're
needs-
gonna have the biggest star playing in the playoffs. One of the best players.
Who's that?
Who else?
Jose
We haven't talked about him yet.
Altuve.
We haven't talked about him yet.
Altuve. But yeah, I think Twins, Rays. I think they're.
Some might say he's overrated, and then he'll hit a home run in your face.
I don't think he's overrated. I mean, I think he's overrated if you say he's the best player in baseball.
I didn't say the best in baseball. I said
But
one of the
if
best.
he's one of the best, then I'm okay with that. So into the National League we go.
He's my MVP.
Hashtag it.
Hashtag my MVP.
The NL East, the Braves are 70-50. They are 6 games up on the Nationals, who, I mean, we kind of talked earlier in the season how they seemed like they were left for dead, but then when the over under like projected win loss record, they were like right there with the other 4 teams in that division. So they're 6 games back. The Mets find themselves 8 games back, and the Phillies are now in 4th place. They are 9 games back, and Miami just shouldn't have a baseball team anymore. They are relegated. So the Braves winning this division, I assume.
Yes.
I think they're clearly the best team. I think the Phillies have the talent to also like be there, and then the Mets and the Nationals are like feel good stories. But I mean, the Mets pitching can always get them there. They did just
so can the Nationals.
They so both like all 4 of those teams, I think, have the ability to make the playoffs, as we thought before the season started. But at this point, I think the Braves are just too good, and they are going to end up winning the division, which leads us to the Central, where the Cubs are 64-54. They are 2 games up on the Cardinals, 2.5 up on the Brewers, 7.5 up on the Reds, and 15 up on the Pirates.
Ship is sinking.
matey.
So the Reds and Pirates, I don't think are going to make it unless Trevor Bauer has a Jake Arrieta type run from his Cy Young his Cy Young winning season, where he just didn't lose in the second half of the season and had like a 0.9 ERA, some crazy stat line like that. The Cubs suck away from Wrigley.
A lot of them suck away from their home on that division.
Yeah. I mean, it's not nearly as drastic as the Cubs, though, because the Cubs are 41-19 at home, which is the 4th or 5th best home record in baseball, and they're 23-35 away from it. I'm really fearful of the rest of that division and the Cubs falling out of the playoff race, just because the Cubs just are so off and on. Like, they're 7-3 in their last 10, but they could easily end up going like 2-8 in their next 10. And St. Louis and Milwaukee just are such solid teams. Alvin, who do you have winning the division?
Oh man, that one is hard, because that one I'll have to like see like their schedule, like how many home games they have compared to road games. But I'll say the Cubs for now.
Well, the Cubs have played 60 out of 81 road games or home games, so they have 21 at home, and they've played 58 on the road. So they are 21 at home and 23 on the road.
That kind of works in their favor, right? Because everybody else in that damn league sucks away from home also. But I'll just give it to the Cubs. I think the real fight for that one is like who gets into the wild card, which
all 3 of them can. Andrew, your Central winner.
I'm gonna go with the Brewers.
The Brewers. Yeah. The Brewers are fucking -20 differential.
Yeah, I saw that. I wanted to say them, and then I saw that.
That's okay.
They'll make it up.
Yeah.
Differential is a weird thing now because of how it's become home run and bust, and you can end up losing a game 19-1 and then win the next game 1-0, and guess what? You're 1-1.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I just
Because the Brewers
it's-
are minus 20 and the Reds are plus 38.
it's because I think to me this division depends on like who ends up like the hottest in the last 2 weeks. And I mean that as in not even just like team, but even like a player. Like look at the stretch run that Yelich had last year where he pretty much carried the Brewers into the playoffs himself. Is he going to have a year like that? The Cardinals have Paul Goldschmidt. Like, can he get on a run? The Cubs, Javi Baez is kind of their catalyst right now. I mean, Rizzo and Chris Bryant can also do things, but like Javi Baez seems to be the motor of the Cubs engine. They're dealing with a few injuries right now, but like I personally think that it's just the Cardinals are going to end up winning this division because that's what they do. They just
Win.
All I do is win.
They just find a way to. It's like the Twins where they just find a way to stick around, except they have a winning culture and they've won a lot, and they just they play the like just they have their own style of baseball that they play, and it ends up doing them good. So we all three of us have picked a different team in this one, which I believe is the first one. We have a difference of opinion. And then the last division we probably didn't even need to discuss because the Dodgers
There's another division?
the Dodgers are 79-41 and they're 18 and a half games up on second place Arizona.
Do we even have to mention the rest?
Right.
I just want to say that the Dodgers are 18 and a half up on the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks, if they were in the Central, would be 4.5 out of the division lead.
Sucks to suck.
So it's not a knock on the division. It's just
The Dodgers are
fire.
Yeah, good.
they are the best.
Mood AF.
They are they are tied with the best record in baseball with the Yankees,
Look at that differential though.
and they're half game up on the
Shit's
Astros.
crazy.
Nuts.
Yeah,
And
Bellinger's winning the NL MVP. I think
all those
he pretty much has that in the bag
walk-offs
now.
that they had in the recent weeks.
Yeah, it's like the Cubs from like a couple months ago where they had like 3 straight walk-offs. So now,
But they had like 10.
right. So now the National League wild card. The Nationals are a game up. The Cardinals in the second spot. The Brewers are a half game out. The Mets at 1, Phillies at 2, Diamondbacks at 3 or 2.5, Giants at 3.5, Cincinnati at 5.5, Padres at 7, Rockies at 9.5, Pirates at 13, and Miami even has a chance if you want to give them a chance at 17.5 out.
Good
Like
There's a
I said,
good old Miami.
I said in the American League that 12 was the cutoff. 2 teams in the National League are further out than 12 of the wild card. The other teams, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams are within 12 games of the second wild card.
So you're saying there's a chance.
I'm saying there is a chance.
Yeah.
So if we all have the same teams in the wild card, which we can't because we all picked different Central winners. But if we, I guess I could say if we all have like, if we all have one of the same 2, I think that would be kind of odd even because of how many teams are in this. Andrew, your National League wild card representatives.
I'm going with the Nationals
And the Phillies. Okay, got it.
and the Metropolitans.
Ooh.
Nationals, Mets. So
Yes.
both leagues are going to have 3 representatives from the same division for you.
Yeah.
Man, the Mets are sneaky. They're sneaky. I don't know if you know this, but one of my customers is the official stitcher of the New York Mets. So I get to make posts for them, which is a lot of fun. Alvin, your wild card.
Well, I was going Mets, so Mets is one. And
You're going with Mets 1?
well, no, I mean they're one of my teams.
Oh, I was like, damn, dude.
Do it in order of 1, 2. It makes it easy.
Yeah. Don't confuse people like that. Shit. You said I'm going with Mets 1,
Right.
but they're really going 2.
Oh fuck this is. I'll say Brewers. Brewers are the Mets for me.
So Brewers number 1
Yes.
and Mets. Got it. So I'm going Cubs number 1
Of course.
What?
Of course.
because I don't think that they will miss the playoffs. And I'm going Phillies 2. And I mean, God, I can't. The Giants 3.5 out. Like, there's just. This is like you were joking about a month ago when we were talking about the All-Star break for Major League Baseball. Like, this is really when the season heats up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because
Baseball started.
Because now we're, 40 to 50 games out. Like, every game from here on out pretty much matters because it can help, like, especially depending on who you play. So, I mean, you can see, like, the oddest thing to see is a Padres Reds wild card situation, which is in the cards. It is literally like a 7-game swing. So I think this home stretch of baseball is one of the more exciting times of the year. It's one of the reasons why they need to fucking shorten their season. Like, there's no reason why it should be more than 110 games.
And they should start it later, not end it sooner.
Well, I'm okay with them. I mean, they could start it a little later, but
You're okay with the heat.
Very much so.
There's a reason they're called the dog days of summer.
But I mean, they have carved themselves out this little niche of the calendar where they should capitalize on the month and like month and a half after free agency starts for the NBA, because all that's done in like a week, and then when the preseason gets heated up, because until about week 3 of the preseason, people will have a chance to like dabble in watching a lot of baseball.
But a lot of people don't give a shit.
And if no game in April, May, June, or July really matters,
like we didn't have much to talk about, and we're a fucking sports podcast,
right? I mean, there's so much to talk about with basketball and football. I mean, there's plenty to talk about with baseball. Like, we could go down, like, all the juniors you see and you see the Yastrzemski kid, Vladdy, Fernando Tatis Jr. You see all of these kids of great players.
Gleyber Torres, the night that he had, was it last night or
Gleyber
Torres?
Yeah. But like there's the up and down year that Bryce Harper had, the issues with Dallas Keuchel finding a team and finally landing on Atlanta. There was always something to talk about with the MLB, but it just didn't have the same type of pool that the NBA NFL did. Like, that's just not how the MLB is, and it's formatted. And I think there's too many games that don't matter. That it
like those first 12 games where the Mariners went 11-1.
Exactly.
Let me live. Let me live.
You should know that that's just going to happen. It's going to come from Andrew, just like when he lambasts Matt Stafford.
Trash.
Like, I know it's happening. I don't have to actually believe what he says.
Even though it's true. Fucking called denial.
Let's snap back to reality.
Silver trash bag.
We the next few weeks of the podcast are kind of up in the air. There is
summer winding down.
There's a baby that might be sprouting out into the real world.
Wild.
Just sprouting like a plant.
Sprouting out.
So we'll be back. It might just be me and Alvin. Andrew might Skype in. We'll get it all figured out and have another episode in the near future. But that wraps up this one.
Don't forget our fantasy league.
We
coming with the championship belt.
Yes.
Live fantasy draft too.
Is that happening?
I thought we decided that we was going to do it live.
I mean, we're going to
on the podcast.
Recorded. I'm not going to be here.
I know you're not going to be here, but
this is all up in the air. This is all tentative plans.
Alvin's making announcements right now.
I know. He's
just throwing little bubbles out there, you know.
Who made Alvin our spokesperson?
Championship belt coming in hot.
So I'm Casey Coggins, as always, joined by Alvin Hebert,
Deuces,
and Andrew Lira.
Subscribe, rate, review. Don't forget. Tell your friends.
Tell
everybody.
Your kids.
I did.